You know, the past few weeks, dare I even say the past 9 months, have been the most insane thing happening in the gaming industry. Prices exponentially increasing across every piece of device you in fact want to use, and all because of the insane RAM apocalypse. Yeah, it's been getting that bad, and no, I'm not being hyperbolic. Here are some of the actual issues we've been seeing, with the worst going to the actual least. With Valve increasing the price of their Steam Deck $250 to $950 MSRP, and then the Steam Machine being announced for its price well over $1,000 without even a controller, and that's the low barrier to entry, by the way. Then we also have Xbox, who just increased the price of their systems to $800 for the Series X. And we also have the Series S at $500, both for the 1TB model. Then we've got PlayStation, who put their PS5 Pro to $900 before the disc drive, before the stand, before you pay for online, getting it well into the $1,000 territory. And finally, you've got Nintendo increasing the cost of their Switch 2 by $50, but they've also done other things as well, like increasing the cost of their Switch Online and other services too. So every company in the gaming space, no matter how good or how bad they are dealing with all of these issues with increasing prices. But you see, it doesn't just stop here, because apparently every other major company, whether it's Xbox or even PlayStation, are still talking about next generation hardware. And it's going to get even crazier when you realize that all these companies are no longer going to subsidize or take in any loss whatsoever on any device at all. And it turns out because of that, the only ones getting screwed in the end are going to be you, me, and the entire gaming industry. Because according to IGN tweeting this, quote, "It's not realistic for us to absorb all component cost increases. Sony says it won't sell hardware at a, quote, significant loss as concern grows over PlayStation 6 pricing." All right, you know what? You gotta be kidding me right meow. I've had enough of this kibble and bits. Every single company is just saying, well, if we're gonna pay more money for RAM, we'll just make the people pay more instead. And that's not how these things are supposed to go. We are watching in real time as every company is taking every cost, every price, and every factor and putting the tab on your plate, making you pay for it, and then screaming in your face, why aren't you buying the hardware? Why aren't you buying our games? We got GTA at $80 to $100. We got games at $70. We're increasing the price of our online services. And now the price of the hardware is going up too. It turns out today's price is not yesterday's price. But to be so completely incapable of understanding what's going on and realizing that Sony and PlayStation and so many other companies do not care about you because they know you're dealing with the same issues, they're going to keep jacking up those costs and they're going to keep putting you over a barrel. But there could be some light at the end of the tunnel, especially for Valve and maybe even PlayStation. And possibly Xbox, and maybe Nintendo, and maybe even every other PC gamer as well. But let's see what Nishino had to say, and go from there. With the article saying this, in a recent Q&A with Sony Interactive Entertainment, President and CEO Hideaki Nishino, published in English by Sony itself, the executive suggested taking a big hit on next-gen consoles isn't something PlayStation will do. Nishino was asked, quote, "Considering consumer behavior, could you update us on your current thinking regarding hardware pricing and profitability? For the next generation platform, is it reasonable to assume that your pricing will continue to prioritize profitability of the hardware as it does today?" Here is Nishino's response, quote, "First, we regard hardware as the base for providing the gaming experience, and by offering products such as PlayStation Portal Remote Player, we aim to provide experiences tailored to users' playstyles beyond the living room, which has traditionally been considered the primary usage environment." All right, I want to stop right here. Did you notice how for some reason every company now is talking about streaming services or streaming devices that don't have a lot of RAM, that are cheap to manufacture and can provide you everything that you want? It's kind of funny when you think about it, right? The entire thing is just hinging on the fact that these companies do not want to sell these higher end products. And if they do, they want to sell it to the whales. Instead, for the lowly trudge like us, they're going to go ahead and give us all the streaming devices. Don't you want to go ahead and play your games anywhere that you want with an internet connection? Yeah, use our remote player. That's going to be the best thing for you. Don't concern yourself with the $1,400, $2,000 console that we're going to charge everybody. Just give us that money that you've got in your pockets every single month. You can bet your sweet bippy PlayStation will do it with PS Now. Xbox will do it with their Game Pass service. Even Nvidia is doing it right now and monitoring the clock about how much time you're spending with GeForce Now. Literally, the entire industry is planning to put this entire thing into planned obsolescence. Remove hardware from your ownership and then only give you the ability to stream everything, and they control the amount of money they can charge you, and you're stuck hook, line, and sinker. But Nishino keeps going, saying, quote, "As for pricing, it is not realistic for us to absorb all component cost increases, as we already implemented some price increases outside Japan. At present, however, sales are proceeding as planned, and we do not believe this has led to a decline in consumer demand. As principle, we do not intend to sell hardware at significant losses. At the same time, we are carefully monitoring the market and continuing to evaluate our approach. We believe it is important for us to make every effort to ensure that customers fully understand the value we provide in relation to pricing." Oh, I bet if you're listening to that right now, you're probably punching the air at how angry you are about things. Literally, this is exactly what every other company is in fact thinking. They're all saying to themselves, you guys, we provide value with our tech. You definitely want to pay for it. And if you can't pay for it, don't worry, because every other place is buying up our hardware and we're not seeing any loss in our sales at all. Even though we just saw in May, Xbox having their worst May ever and PlayStation having their worst May in the past 20 years. This was literally in yesterday's video. Massive hardware drops falling all over the place. And the funniest part is Nishino actually talked about Japan, which is even crazier because they're literally subsidizing Japan's own PlayStation 5s and making them cheaper in that country specifically because they're losing ground. And that's where all of this is coming out from. Every company, and I mean every company, Microsoft, PlayStation, Valve, Nintendo, they can all afford to subsidize these consoles. They absolutely can. Do not believe these corporation lies, because that's all they ever do. So you know how to get prices back down again? Close your wallets. That's pretty much it. That's the only thing these boys are ever going to understand. These companies realize that everybody is panicking for RAM. But the thing is, the more you panic and the more you panic buy, the more they can raise the price. And the more they do that, the more they can go ahead and start charging you more and then brag about how this is the most profitable generation PlayStation has ever had in their entire lives. And turn around and telling you, hey, sorry boys, we're not going to subsidize this console. You're paying full price. But the thing is, it turns out PlayStation has other plans as well. And it looks like they actually believe PC gamers are going to buy a PlayStation? With Matt Piscatella on Blue Sky from Circana, quote tweeting Sony's own business segment meeting with specific quotes, saying this: "For the next generation platform, rather than simply serving as an alternative to PCs, we aim to deliver value that is unique to PlayStation. We are focusing more on monetizing our user base. We expect to recover the costs through revenue generated from PS Plus. Morgan Freeman.gif." With Matt Piscatella also saying this: "If the idea is that PC players are going to move to PlayStation so they can pay for more PS Plus in order to play online and to access streaming, well, yeah, I don't know." And you know what? I'm gonna have to agree with Matt on this one. I don't know what the hell PlayStation is actually thinking. Do they really believe that PC gamers who are ingrained in Valve and in Steam and in GOG and even some people using the Epic Game Store, gross, are going to literally get up out of their desks, out of their own home PCs, and go to a weaker console, a weaker platform, to pay for online, to pay more for games, all because you guys have exclusives? Honey, you've got a big storm coming. If we didn't do it back then when consoles were cheaper, what the hell makes Nishino and even Hermie Hulst think we're going to do it when these guys are charging $1,000 for the next generation PlayStation? Literally not going to happen. Everybody instead is going to bunker down in their own ecosystems and go nowhere. It's going to be a completely stagnant set of approach for possibly maybe the next 5 years overall. And the thing is, these companies don't understand this. These guys in PlayStation actually believe they're going to go around and coerce people with their own little exclusives, even though they put 90% of their entire catalog onto the PC platform. And you know what? If we didn't buy the console back then at $500, what makes them think we're going to buy it now when they had exclusives? This personally is going to backfire in the face of practically every single company that is trying to pull this off. It's going to backfire in Microsoft's face when they try to push their online streaming services with cloud and even putting ads into Game Pass as well with xCloud. Trust me, that's coming too. Don't worry. It'll be on the horizon. It's going to backfire at the same time with PlayStation trying to not subsidize anything at all and make the users pay for a PlayStation 6 at $1,000+ because we're seeing the bill of materials already break the $900 mark. And it's going to backfire with Valve as well, as they didn't subsidize the actual Steam machine itself, even though they absolutely can and they should afford to, because clearly Valve is already under the gun by being called a monopoly in the PC gaming space. And Nintendo? Surprise! They're the ones that are actually doing things right. Who could have actually imagined that? Of all the companies, Nintendo. Jesus. But the reason why this is all happening and why the insane greed that you're seeing across every brand and every company right now in the gaming space is happening is because of the RAM crisis. And sadly, it's gonna get worse. Because according to Wario64 on Twitter saying this, Jeffries warns memory prices will surge 50% in Q3 2026 and another 40% in Q4, with no relief until 2028. With the article from WCCF Tech saying this, currently, 50% of the total capacity is covered in long-term deals and contracts that are being signed between memory makers and top tech firms. Micron already signed 16 agreements as part of the SCA's Strategic Consumer Agreements. This could rise to 70%, which means that there is going to be even fewer supply available for consumer products such as PCs, laptops, consoles, and smartphones, leading to higher prices across the board. And yeah, this is not good news at all. I was expecting this entire thing to pop a couple of years back, like 2 years ago, if you asked me, before all this in fact took off. But it's getting even worse. Micron signing all those deals and leaving the consumer space as well, mind you, which isn't a good thing at all. Every PlayStation going up in exponential pricing. Next generation being $1,000 minimum at the very baseline of what you're going to be seeing for consoles, and every other piece of tech being incredibly difficult to find and buy is not good for anybody in this space, in this industry, as these companies talk about having record profits, record growth, record sales, because it's not about the fact that people want to buy this hardware. It's about the fact that people are panic buying this hardware because the shortage is getting even worse. Why is someone going to wait a year, 2 years to buy something later on when it'll increase in price by 200%? That's actually ridiculous, and we're seeing it happen right now. But it looks like things might be changing. And it's going to be from a place that you probably never even expected. And hopefully, if this pans out the right way, the bubble could actually pop. And everybody's greed could be exposed in front of everyone. Because according to Dexerto on Twitter posting this, a new class action lawsuit accuses Samsung, Micron, and SK Hynix of working together to restrict RAM supply, raise prices, and prioritize AI memory production. That's what I'm talking about, brother. All this collusion, all the garbage, all the that we've been dealing with literally is because of the RAM cartel. And Gamers Nexus has done amazing coverage about these three companies, with the article saying this: the lawsuit, first reported by Law 360, was filed on behalf of a proposed class of individual and business customers. It claims the three companies, which produce the vast majority of the world's DRAM, coordinated efforts to reduce the supply of DDR3 and DDR4 memory while prioritizing the production of high bandwidth memory, HBM, a more expensive type of DRAM primarily used in AI data centers. The plaintiffs argue that in a competitive market, rising prices would normally encourage at least one manufacturer to increase production and capture market share. Instead, the complaint alleges the three companies collectively maintained a limited supply while demand continued climbing. It also claims customers purchasing conventional DRAM, along with products containing it, paid inflated prices because of what it describes as a distorted market. The lawsuit argues the three companies effectively control the global DRAM market and face little realistic competition because building new fabrication plants requires investments of tens of billions of dollars and years of development. It also claims that manufacturing expertise and export restrictions create additional barriers, preventing new competitors from entering the market. And honestly, that's exactly what has been happening. And we've seen prices of DDR4 and even DDR3 begin to increase because people are looking to buy those pieces of RAM to use on their PCs instead, or even on their boards. And that's become a massive issue because now that there's more actual people buying those older pieces of tech, they're raising the prices on those too. So literally, we are fighting an actual oligopoly in the tech space as three major companies are trying to control everything across the board. It's gotten so bad that Apple is now petitioning the White House to ask if they could buy RAM from CXMT. And if you don't remember, a couple of months back, we talked about how CXMT actually sent spies to work for Samsung to understand how to make HBM DDR5, write it all on pieces of paper, and then send that info back to China so they can build their own fabs as well. I never thought I'd say this, but hell, I'd be down for some Chinese RAM in my PC the way things are going. I mean, when you think about it, Windows already spies on you right now, and every government wants your ID. What's a little bit of RAM gonna do? You know what I mean? According to Yogesh Bar on Twitter saying this, Micron is making around 70% margin on memory chips. Apple makes 60% margin on their products. They are currently fighting over pricing. But let's be real, neither side is losing. The only loser in this case is you, the consumer. With Vinci on Twitter also saying this: of course the crisis is artificial. The crisis being Sam Altman having a fetish for buying out unusable DRAM, which is 40% of the entire world's memory production. Keck. Hopefully they all get sued for billions. What's really crazy is both of those statements are in fact incredibly true. Sam Altman did get 40% of the world's DRAM because of a simple IOU, a promise of purchase, didn't put a single penny down and created the entire RAM apocalypse. Sam Altman should face his penalty just as much as every other major company is facing right now. And it gets even worse because the RAM cartel has been effectively insane, putting Valve over a barrel, basically saying if you don't buy our RAM at this price right now, never call us again because we're not going to give you anything at all. And it got so bad that literally we're watching as the Steam machine is shipping without dual channel memory sticks for RAM at all. Seeing companies like PlayStation brag about how much money they're making, seeing companies like Xbox do the exact same thing and then fire tons of people and then increase the price of their hardware and then complain about why isn't nobody buying our systems really is absurd to me. This entire industry is completely. And the fact that this RAM crisis is exposing all the insane greed that we've already known about before, but making it 10 times worse, is actually insane. If you want this to stop, if you want all this to go away, there's only one thing left to do. Close your wallet, close your purse, close your pocketbook. Take your chain wallet you got from Hot Topic and put that Velcro back together, baby, because literally we're watching as PlayStation literally admitted that they are subsidizing the cost of their PS5s in Japan, which means they can do it across the world, but they don't want to because there's no competition for them there at all. And that's where all this is coming from. If they start seeing sales go down, if these companies start watching as people stop buying things, that's when everything starts to collapse. That's when these companies will realize, uh-oh, we're cooked. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comment section down below. Will you buy a PlayStation 6? Are you going to get a Steam machine? Or are you going to say, you know what? No thanks. I'm not buying anything until this entire bubble actually pops. And then they come crawling back to me to buy something at the right price. I want to hear what you got to say. And speaking about what you got to say, here's the comment of the day from yesterday's video, where during certain parts, I literally had 1 frame per second happen throughout the playback. So hopefully that doesn't happen now. Would be great. With AM's Kova saying this, game companies acting like we owe them for not playing their games. Get wrecked. You know what? Let them get wrecked. I've got plenty of games in my backlog. I got plenty of games for my PlayStation 2, and I got plenty of games I can emulate and never have to worry about this entire garbage and stupid industry ever again. An actual disaster across epic scales. And the next 5 to 6 years are going to get worse. Sad to say. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, as always, though, if you want to see more of this kind of content, more hot takes on the gaming industry, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, and fanboy content, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. Look, if you don't want to spend the buck, don't even sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights live right here on the channel as I wear a banana suit and get insulted with text-to-speech. Trust me, it's insane. You're not going to want to miss it. Every Saturday night, live, right here on this channel, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. It's a hell of a show. You'll be glad you came. Do you want even more of me, though? Check out Oh No, It's Alex Gaming. Link to that channel is in the description down below. I upload videos there every Monday and stream there daily from 10:30 a.m. to around 2 p.m. Right now, we're finishing Stellar Blade and then moving on to some other games as well, chosen by you, the best community on YouTube. Come on down, hang out, enjoy a really chill stream as I get you through your workday. Once again, Oh No, It's Alex Gaming. Check it out in the description down below. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!